Okay, so I'm going to do some questions for our exam 3 review. And the first one we're going to look at is evaluate the expression when x is equal to 6 and y equals -2. So on the very first problem, we are plugging in 6 for x and -2 for y. So we have, for part A, we have 5 times 6 minus 2 times -2, because we're plugging in 6 and -2. 5 times 6 is 30. -2 times -2 would be +4, so 30 plus 4 is 34. The next type of problem we have when we're evaluating is y is equal to 3x plus 12. So we have y is equal to 3x plus 12, knowing that x is equal to 7. So 3 times 7 plus 12. 3 times 7 is 21, plus 12 will get us 33. All right, the next evaluate is a is equal to p plus PRT. So we need to plug in p for both places. So a is equal to p plus PRT. This will be number 3a. We're plugging in for p, r, and t. So a is equal to 1425 plus 1425 times 0.06 times 9, plugging in our values. That 1425 is in both places. Now you need to follow the order of operations here, and we need to multiply this part before we add this one. So this will get us 1425 plus, if I multiply all three of those numbers, I get 76.95. And when I add those together, I get 2194.50. So do not add these together first. Actually do the multiplication before we add. Our next problem, we are going to do some converting. We're going to convert a percent to a decimal. And so we are looking at 7.5%. And we need to convert it to a decimal. So we're going to move it to the left 2 places. So, and let go of the percent sign. So it'll be 0.075, and you can put a 0 in front or not, either way, to get our decimal. Now, to convert a decimal to a percent, so if we have 0.56 and we want to make it a percent, we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right and then put on the percent sign. So it'll be 56%. All right, we need to compute a percentage. What percent of 35 is 9? So you can look at this as the percent, or the part over the whole. You can realize that percent times the base equals the amount, which is something you might be seeing in a contemporary math class if you're taking that, or a liberal arts math. So you can also look at, if we're looking at the percent, then it's going to be the amount divided by the base. So if I want to find the amount, I'm going to have this. If I'm looking for the percent and I divide both parts by the base, then percent would equal amount over base. If I'm looking for the base would be equal to the amount over the percent, because I would divide both sides by percent to get base. So if you look at it that way, you can understand what you're doing with each of the problems. So on the first problem, what percent of 35 is 9? So in class we talked about the part over the whole. The of is the whole, the 9 is the part. The 9 is going to be your amount. So the amount over the base. So the amount, what is 9 of the base? So we're looking at 9 divided by 35 will get us a decimal. So if we take our 9 divided by 35, it becomes 9 divided by 35, not sure what happened there, 0.257. So we're going to get 0.257, and it's going on to like 1 and 4. We don't need that many places. But if we're looking to change it to a percentage, then what we're doing is moving that decimal place 2 places. So we're going to end up with 25.7%. We're just going to go to 1 decimal place. Now on the next question, what percent of 27 is 12? So what percent of 27 is 12 would work the same way. You would take 12 divided by 27. If we're looking at the fact that we are, what is this percent of 176? So we've got the percent, we've got the base, that will equal the amount. So we're going to multiply it. So hopefully that will help you see. On this next question, we are going to do the percent times the base gets us the amount. So what is, so we've got 53.2%. We need to change it to a decimal, so over 2 places, so 0.532. And again, you can put the 0 or not. Times our 176 is going to get you 93.6. And you can check that by taking your 93.6 and divide it by the base. You should get that percentage. So using that formula, you can figure out whichever one you're trying to do. All right, so the next part here, suppose you make $31.45 a month and your rent is $8.50 a month. What percent of your monthly pay goes to pay your mortgage? So again, you're looking at percent, it's going to equal the amount over the base. So if we're looking at the amount, so we're going to have 850 divided by the base, which is your entire pay. We get 850 divided by 3145, which will get a 0.27, which is 27%. Whoops, sorry, can't see that. So we took our amount that we were given for the rent over the entire paycheck, gets us a decimal. We move it over again 2 places to the right to get our percentage. All right, so the next problem would be similar to that. So let's go do another one. So if you order 3 books online and they cost $62.50, if the shipping fee is 9% of your total amount, how much is the shipping fee? This is going to be very similar to this. So again, we are looking to find the fee. This time we are given the percent and we need to find the amount. So we've got, we're looking for that actual value of the shipping fee. So we are looking at changing our 0.09, or our 9%. We've got to change that to be 0.09 when we move the decimal place 2 places. So we've got the 0.09. And this time we are doing it times the amount, or the base. The base is 62.50. So if we go back to our formulas, the percent times base will tell us the amount of our shipping fee. So we are going to take the 0.09 times our 62.50, which is how much the books cost. And when we do that multiplication, we will get $5.63. So that is the amount of our shipping fee. And the problem after that would follow the same. Okay, so the next question we're looking at is computing simple interest. So if you deposit $15,000 into an account that earns 6% simple interest for 20 years, how much interest would be earned? So we need to know the formula, which is I is equal to P times R times T. And we have 15,000, and we have 6%, and we have 20 years. So we've got to know what all of those parts mean. Well, the 15,000 is the amount we deposited, so that's going to be our principal, which is P. The 6% is the rate, and 20 years is going to be the time, which is T. And T always has to be in years. So we're going to have to change our 6% to be 0.06 for our decimal. So I is equal to 15,000 times 0.06 times 20. And if we multiply that together, we will end up with I being equal to $18,000. So that's the amount of interest that we have gained. So the other problems would work the same way. The numbers are changed. The one that's different is the 18 months. So 18 months, remember, it cannot be in months. Your T has to be in years. So if you're looking at 18 months and you need it in years, there are 12 months in a year. So divide by 12, and when you take 18 divided by 12, you are going to equal to 1.5 years. So be very mindful of whether it's in years or months. All right, the last type of problem you have is doing compound interest. So find the accumulated value of an investment of $7,000 for 5 years at an interest rate of 8% if the money is compounded semi-annually, quarterly, and monthly. This is all going to be the same, except these are going to change. Semi-annually means that it's like a semicircle, a semi-truck. It's 2 times. It's 2 parts, so 2 times a year. Quarterly, 4 quarters in a dollar, 4 quarters in a football game, it is going to be 4. And then monthly, well, there's 12 months in a year. So those are the 3 choices we're looking to use. Everything else will stay the same except for the N. The first thing we need to know is that for compound interest, our formula is A is equal to P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT. So we need to figure out what all of our values are. For all of this, we're looking for the accumulated value, which is the A. So we need to figure out what P, which is the principal, R is the rate, N is the number of times a year that it's being compounded, and T is for how many years. So in our problem, we were told it's $7,000 for 5 years. So $7,000 is how much we put in for 5 years is our T, at an interest rate of 8%, which becomes 0.08. And the first one is semi-annually. That makes our N equal to 2. So we're going to have A is equal to 7,000 times 1 plus 0.08 divided by 2 raised to the 2 times 5. Now, you have to be careful when you're putting it into the calculator. So we've got 7,000, parenthesis, 1 plus 0.08 divided by 2, raised to the power is this little rooftop key. So raised to, there we go, 2 times 5. Now, if you don't have it where it goes up in that square, you would have to put it in parentheses. Hit enter, and you're going to get that your value is 10,361. We have 709. With money, you're always going to go to 2 decimal places. So this 9 will make the 0 become a 1, so 71. So that would be your final answer. So let's look at quarterly. So that was part A. If we do the same thing, but we do N is equal to quarterly, which is 4, everything stays the same except for the 2 will change. Now be very careful with this because it's very easy to forget to change some of the values of your N's. So this will be 7,000 times 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4 raised to the 4 times 5. So as we put this one back in the calculator, the same thing, we do the same skills, we should end up with 10,401.63. So we didn't go up a whole lot, but we went up about $40. And the reason is the more compounding periods, usually the more money you're going to make if everything else is the same. And on the last part, if we're looking at monthly, our n would be equal to 12. So A is equal to 7,000 times 1 plus 0.08 divided by 12 raised to the 12 times 5. And here we should get 10,428.92. So this one jumped quite a bit, a little bit more. Well, I guess not as much as I'm thinking. It jumped about $27 by changing it to the compounding periods of 12 versus 4. So you won't see maybe drastic because everything else is the same. But as it is over time, the time is where it's going to change a lot. So just be aware that the more compounding periods, you will make a little bit more. So you're only making about 27, and here it jumped a little bit more, probably because that's just a 2. And it's the amount that's being multiplied up in the top part. So up in your exponent, so how many times that's happening. And that is exam 3.